Hi everyone! This is Susanna Campora. I'm with Real Life Book Club. I'm the founder and creator of this amazing experience for women. And today I am interviewing and have the pleasure to bring you Ashley DePaulis. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay, I actually have never said your last name out loud. And she is with ASH Fitness. She has an amazing story to tell and is on a mission to really help empower people in a new revolutionary way. And she's doing this in many different ways. But first, I would love to find out a little bit more about Ashley, the background of how she came to be where she's at today. You're doing amazing things in the world, Ashley, and you are definitely a light for so many people already. So I'd love to start off by asking you, how did you get started on your journey to really pursue and live out your purpose in this world?
Well, first I want to thank you for having me on. You are a light to me and many other people, so I am honored to be here. And I'm definitely still on my journey of pursuing my purpose, but how I came to it is I grew up with a family who is very outdoorsy, which is why I love Colorado. And that led me into pursuing my undergrad in health and exercise science. And when I was finished with that degree, my idea wasn't that I was going to go work in a gym. I did work at a YMCA, so it was always more community-based with me, connecting with people, helping people with real health issues, not kind of the gym bunny, I'm going to, get super strong and compete in bikini competitions, etc. I was never on that path. I'm not downing that path, but I was never on that path. I then went into research at CU Boulder, and it was exercise physiology research, so it was very much focused on older adults and how their health diminishes as they age, but that based on hormones. So I'm not going to try to bore you here, but it had a connection with exercise and nutrition. So then I was like, well, how can I help more people? And that's when I went and got my master's in public health and focused on health promotion, education, and behavior. And with that, that's when I started teaching fitness classes. So how I got here today, a little bit kind of a roundabout background. I was in 2 car accidents, one more major than the other. The first one was when I was 19, and I broke my back and my cheekbone and my ribs and my ankle. I was a mess. So having to come back from that, I had my orthopedic surgeon was an orthopedic surgeon who practices with the Dallas Cowboys, so it's very athletic driven, and he told me adversity builds character. He asked me, while I was lying in the bed, unable to move, what are the ABCs of life? And I start crying because I thought this guy was kind of a hard ass.
Oh.
So I kind of carried that with me and have been since that time kind of living out if I do more, if I do better, then everything I want is going to come to me. And there is some truth to that, but you have to balance it out with some other things that have led me to kind of helping others go down this path as well. So with that, I had to go through some therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder because my most recent accident, which was less major, kind of brought up stuff from my first accident. And that has taught me so much about myself, how to care for myself. It taught me that doing more all the time isn't better for me, kind of taking a step back and shifting my perspective on what being healthy is It isn't just exercising. It just isn't eating well. It's about, reducing stress, taking time for myself, and that avenue. So that's really the message with my overall health, behavior, education, and promotion is more comprehensive in that, you have to take other steps to take care of yourself, not just work out and eat well.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, that opens up so much there. I mean, thank you for sharing that story because, it's interesting to see, like, over so much time how the same lessons come up for us in our life. And it's like, oh, there's that again, and here you are, you're 19, you got into an accident. And then how old were you when you got into your second accident?
34. It was just last year.
Okay, 34. So you said that when you got into that accident, it brought up some things from your first accident. Mm-hmm. So what specifically were those things that came up that maybe you didn't address when you were 19 with what happened to you then?
Well, interestingly, I didn't notice this right away. I have a very close family friend who I nannied her kids when I was in college, and her sister is a psychologist. So she told me, because I'm very close to their family, she was like, I'd really go talk to somebody and look into doing what's called EMDR. Now, I'm not going to remember right now exactly what that stands for, but it's supposed to help with post-traumatic stress disorder, because they thought that probably or most likely that would come up for me. Mm. And I contacted one, and she's amazing, very smart. She's how, and I know we'll get into this, but she's how I learned about Brene Brown. And with that therapy, I realized that I was kind of living with, she described it as white noise, and I was like, yes. So it's like having the TV on all the time, and I would say over the years I always noticed that it was hard for me to process my feelings. It was like I kept running into something that I can't even explain to you what it is right now, but it was just like a stuck point where either I would just feel frustrated or mad, but I couldn't go beyond that. Like, it wasn't easy for me to always cry or explain to somebody else how I was feeling. So what I learned from that is that I kept on with post-traumatic stress disorder. You end up in this loop, and it just keeps on looping around again and again, and that's kind of why I wasn't moving anywhere. Like, I was accomplishing things in life. I mean, I've done a lot of things, but I just wasn't getting anywhere kind of emotionally and getting out of that pattern.
Wow.
And sometimes, you go ahead.
Because you were in that pattern, what was that holding you back in your life?
I would say a lot of times I have a very large network of friends here in Denver, and they always plan things out. And I noticed that year after year, we were always doing the same things. And I was like, I like this and I enjoy it, but I'm bored. Like, that was something that came to mind, and I'm like, I'm just in this cycle of just kind of going along with what everyone else is doing. And I knew, I've always felt from a young age that there was something more in me to express, but being able to express it is still kind of the thing I'm working on as well. So telling my story and sharing more and all that. So I'd say that those are the two main things. So I've definitely stepped away from kind of going along with the crowd, but I was in that for a long time.
So during that time, what did that cost you in your life?
Well, I would say it costed me, I was just more unconscious to things, I would say. It kept me also in a job that I wasn't happy in, and kind of blaming myself in terms of I would think, there were certain things about the job that I was in that wasn't going to change, but for whatever reason, I was blaming myself for not being good enough or not doing my own heartache. Like I was causing my own pain, basically, in my thoughts.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like you were suffering from PTSD, not even knowing that you were.
Yes.
And it just kind of became your reality. When you
Mm-hmm.
express how it felt for you during that time, it sounds really familiar because, like, there's things that have happened in my life that did cause some type of trauma within me, and I didn't even know
Yes.
that it affected me that way. And it gives you these effects in your life of like this cloud of fear and
Uh-huh.
mediocrity and feeling disconnected from myself and from other people.
Yes.
And
I definitely describe it that way.
wow. And so it's interesting that, I've never been diagnosed with that, and it sounds like you were not diagnosed with it technically.
No,
It was just
not
kind of,
until I went.
yeah, not until you're after your second accident, right?
Yeah. And interestingly, I think that a lot of times we think of PTSD because we always hear it with people coming back from war.
Yes.
And even in their treatment, what's been going on is just been more talked about in the media. And I think mental health too. I mean, because it's definitely a mental health issue. And I don't think people think of little things. I never thought of being in a car accident as a trauma, but now that I look back on it, yeah, it is. And then from what I learned from my therapist, because I had an interesting situation in the second accident, and she explained to me, she's like, sounds like you had the trauma of the accident and then another trauma on top of that, just how they were caring for me at the accident scene. And I would have never thought of that as a trauma either. But there are these little things. Nothing major has to happen to you. It's these little things that you carry with you that keep you in this cycle of not being able to move forward. It's so, like, I'm chill bumps right now.
I did too. I did at the same time. Oh my God. And it's so funny, actually. I've known you for some time. And it's interesting that during the time since I've known you, which has been, a few months now, um, I have uncovered in my own journey that I've suffered from trauma when I was
Mm-hmm.
15 years old, and it had certain effects on me. So you have truly been a mirror to me in my life in learning more about myself and just hearing your story and how, you go a whole decade with, these symptoms, and then bam, like something happens to you in your life to wake you up. So let's talk about that waking up process, because it is truly a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it can come to us in painful ways, we can wake up and we can realize that, there's a huge difference in living our life in disconnection and inauthenticity, versus connection and authenticity and really experiencing a richness of life. And it's not necessarily our fault, it's just there are lessons to be learned. But tell me a little bit about how you got reconnected first with yourself after your second accident.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, so I had the help of my therapist. She kept saying to me, because we did this therapy EMDR, but I went back to her because I was saying, well, I'm still kind of feeling not, like the anxiety is gone around driving, but I still have something. And it wasn't anything that I would have to get out necessarily in talk therapy. And she explained to me that some people, in processing their PTSD, have to find community. And so she said, start looking at, the places that you're connected to and where maybe you can connect a little deeper. So in that time, like I've been a part of Crave, which is a group you're also part of, which is an entrepreneurial networking group for women here in Denver. So I started exploring that more and just participating more in the monthly meetings, meeting more people, and just being open to whatever was going to happen. Trying not to feel for myself like I had to be perfect and have something to go there with to or show up with. And connecting more, I met you and learned about Real Life Book Club. And I had thought myself, because I have this practice of watching Super Soul Sunday, because that was something for me to kind of connect to. I like the message that it brings. I like that it's focused around books and people's experiences. And it got me thinking that, you know, I would love to use books to help my own clients move through things, because a lot of times people, yes, they come to me for exercise and nutrition advice and help, but there's other things that I know keep them stuck. So I was just kind of thinking out of the box, like, how can I help? My larger vision has always been, you know, what other healthcare or other just business owners could I connect people with that might help them through their process? And for me, that was really Real Life Book Club kind of opened that door for me and really put that connection piece into place.
Wow, awesome, Ashley. Yeah. Yeah, you ever since the first meeting, you've been a true believer in Real Life Book Club, and you know it shows up within the meetings, just that deeper connection and that community that you're talking about, as well as it sounds like it's spilling over into your business and to your other parts of your life. So share a little bit more about how that community and what your therapist had recommended to you, how has that enhanced your life, and especially in recovering from PTSD and a decade of living, you know, kind of in that fog.
Yeah, it's definitely enhanced my life in the way that I don't feel that I need to get everything accomplished at once. Oftentimes, people think it's either all or nothing, but really, and it's something I practice with my clients, but then when you look at yourself, it's almost like you need somebody else to help you. So seeing for yourself that, you know, if I just take little steps to help improve the areas of my life that need help, then it's doable. It's not something that has to happen overnight. And I may set an intention to focus on one area of my life, but maybe I'm pulled in a different direction. Because it's funny, I've always set this intention because I feel like part of PTSD that's held me back a little is in relationships with guys. And it's just that kind of fear. My intention of that is still there, but I always let myself get pulled in the direction of making changes in my business, because that's also very important to me and it's kind of in front of my face. So that's really easy, and I think that's something everyone struggles with. Like, you may want two things, but you know, you got to move between the two. You got to stay fluid. So
Right.
and I think just sharing more with people and hearing other people's stories is the biggest thing for me in book club, and being more open about my own story has helped.
You're doing a great job at really owning your own story and sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for allowing yourself to be a little bit vulnerable and, you know, kind of dive into how, you know, what your journey is. Like, knowing that you're not perfect and you don't have the answers, and, you know, this awakening happened in your early 30s, and here you are, you're like, woo, like, how do I do this? You know, this whole new life. So so thank you, because I think so many of us, we wake up one day and we're like, what the hell happened? And it just takes those small little baby steps and surrounding yourself with inspiration as well, to just take one day at a time and keep going and keep growing. So what really inspires you in your life right now, Ashley?
I thought about this, and what really inspires me, I'm going to go back to Super Soul Sunday and say people that know no limits and push boundaries and ways of thinking. That has always, if I think back to jobs that I've had that had less freedom in them to express myself, it didn't have that factor. It didn't have that let's do things different factor. Let's start a revolution kind of. And I know that sounds crazy, but not to us, not to me and you, but maybe to other people.
Bring on the craziness for everyone.
I know. But I think anyone who, so I was watching Super Soul Sunday this past weekend, and it was a story of Eunice Shriver. It was her son, and she really started the movement with the Special Olympics, and things like that always bring me to tears. Like big things that you think you can't accomplish, and people accomplish them. Like that inspires me. And then I was reading a story yesterday about these adventure racers and how they found this dog along their adventure race, and this dog followed them and they couldn't leave the dog behind. But people that are just like will go all out and are amazing. So I mean, it can span anywhere from, you know, creating the Special Olympics to doing something more individual for yourself. So
awesome. Love it, Ashley. So this inspiration that you talk about sounds super powerful. How does it help you? How does it help you push through your fear in your daily life as you really work on, you know, owning this type of dream for yourself, you know, owning your vision and owning your authentic self and your story? How does that inspiration help you in taking action every day?
I think it helps to surround myself with what I like to call my tribe of people that I know have an understanding of that thought, and also having very supportive family. And I get a lot of inspiration too from, you know, I teach group fitness classes, and then I have my own private clients. I get a lot of inspiration from them, and just seeing how excited they are, how they tell me I impact their life, and that for people to allow me to come into their lives to help them make changes is just an honor. And I love it, and I have so much fun doing it, and I know they have fun, so that keeps me moving.
Yeah, it keeps you moving. That's the key, and I love that you see moving as those baby steps, right? Mm-hmm. Just a little bit at a time.
Yes.
Knowing that, you know, it's a process, it takes time, and there's going to be all that fear that pops up, but holding on to that inspiration really, really helps you. How does authenticity come into play with something like this? How is like reconnecting and staying connected to your true self and your authentic self, how has that helped you continue to take action in your life?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is tapping into my intuition. And it's always been very present. I haven't always been the best about listening to it. And I would say in the past year to year and a half, I have listened to it most of the time. I'll give myself a 90%. And when I do, it's always right. That keeps me very connected and grounded to my purpose and what I am trying to teach others. And it's funny because one thing I will ask folks in my process of coaching them is what they most desire. Like, what would this whatever their health and fitness goal, maybe what does that look like? What do they desire? And they're always very small with it. And in my mind, because I'm not them, I'm like thinking big. And moving them through that process, taking them away from their inner critic, taking them away from habits that have them believing their own thoughts, because a lot of times those habits keep us attached to our ego, take us away from our intuition, and that's what keeps us stuck. So I really help to move people into their intuition and what they desire and what that looks like, and going from a can't to a could to a can. So
I love that. I love the could in there. I don't usually hear that. Yeah, and I just absolutely love how you just expressed how you work with your clients and some of those really powerful questions that you bring up for them. Up to possibility, and there's no doubt that your story and the lessons you've learned in your life and the pain that you've had to go through is a huge part of how you're able to help people on that deeper level. And also no doubt that you're able to help people on that deeper level because you are taking your own journey of growth, of staying inspired, of pushing through the fear, of connecting with people, and really surrounding yourself with awesome people who are growing too. And I just want to celebrate you. I mean, it's so amazing to hear, what you've gone through and your life, pre-accident to post-accident, and what you learned from that. And now you're sharing it with people, and you're being that light, and you're out of the fog,
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being you and for being here today. I would love to share with everyone how they can connect with you in working with you, from the physical aspect to maybe some post-accident type injuries that people might have, as well as anyone that maybe they just found out that they're diagnosed with PTSD, or maybe that this talk is actually helping them see that they could possibly be suffering from trauma themselves from the past, and they don't even know it. So please share with us any way that any of us can be in touch with you, can connect with you, and find you online and offline. That would be awesome.
Yeah, there's a few ways. I would say I want to let people know I have an ebook coming out. So this could be for anybody that, has been active before in their lives or never been active in their lives and really wants to get back to being active, to somebody who's been injured and maybe can't be active right now but wants to participate in taking care of themselves still. Because there's a lot of mental stuff or heaviness that goes around, especially if you've been a very active person before and you can't participate in the activities that you love doing. So I have an ebook coming out, and it is called 5 Simple Steps to Awakening Your Inner Athlete and Improving Your Metabolism. So a lot of times we think that if we're sitting around on the couch, then we kind of get bummed out about it, and we might start eating things that aren't really good for us. But that doesn't help get us out of that fog and, heal our bodies how we need to. So really doing things or feeding or nourishing our bodies in a way that's going to help give us energy, even if we can't do the things that we would normally want to do. So that's one way. People would be able to find that at theashfitness.com. And right now my blog as well, dailypowerfit.blogspot.com. And on Facebook, I would say that just to help people understand kind of what I'm all about, is that I try to eliminate the all or nothing approach for people, because I don't live my life that way anymore. to be compassionate with themselves, to not punish themselves, and be more playful. You know, a lot of times people look at, I have to be active because I have to look a certain way, when really, as we age, it's more about how we feel in our body, how we're able to move in our body, how we're going to grow old gracefully and without aches and pains. And I really want people to see that. And from that, yeah, you can get the benefits of looking good, but it's really not just about looking good.
Wow, I love the feeling good, like
Yeah.
feeling good in your body no matter what your age and
Mm-hmm.
a little bit at a time. Oh my gosh, that's a big lesson that I'm learning for sure, especially when it comes to those sensitive areas in regards to our health or our bodies
Mm-hmm.
and some of those fears around those things. So I really appreciate that philosophy and that you implement that with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. And all of this information on where to find Ashley will be below the video in the information section. So definitely connect with her. She also has a really great blog article that she wrote about her experience with Real Life Book Club and how that has played out in her life. You're an amazing writer. I'm really excited for your ebook to come out and to see that blow up and really help people. So thank you so much, Ashley. I would love to find out from you, number one, what is the last message you would like to share with your audience that are connecting with us right now? And
Mm-hmm.
number two, what are you grateful for? We always end in gratitude, and tomorrow happens to be Turkey Day, so it's especially important. So yeah, what are those last two nuggets that you want to share with us?
Last two. Number one, I'd say be good to yourself. You know, be compassionate with yourself. That's really, so for those of you who have experienced book club, we have these inspirations for the week, and my inspiration is to be more compassionate with myself. We get stuck in that perfectionism cycle sometimes, and to step back from that and just be compassionate. Be good to you. Smile at yourself from
Love
the
it.
inside. And the other, what I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for having found you
Mhm.
and Real Life Book Club, and the impact that it's had on me. It's just like right now I just feel love. So yeah.
Aw, I have so much love for you too, and you know, I want to announce that I'm so happy that you are a leader in training. So you get to be leading your own real life book club and reach women on a different level. With all the tools and all the juiciness and all the connection that comes from that experience. So thank you so much for being part of the leadership team, and I look forward to continue to collaborate with you and we can learn from each other and reach more women to help them, to empower them, to love on them. And again, thank you so much for being a light. I'm grateful for you as well, Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you. All
Yes. We'll talk to you soon.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Gobble gobble.